My wife asked for a hall pass to sleep with a coworker after beating cancer, so I told her to leave. My wife and I have been married since 2001 and together since 1999. She is the most intelligent, thoughtful, caring, and loyal person I know, and I have always thought of myself as fortunate to have met and married her. She is, even today, aesthetically beautiful, and men have told her this throughout our marriage. She has always shot them down. Earlier this year, she was diagnosed with uterine cancer, stage 1, and had a full hysterectomy. I was never concerned about the cancer. It was diagnosed early, dealt with quickly, and she made a full recovery. I took time off work to look after her after the surgery, and all seemed well. There were some expected emotional instances on her part, and although I am not an emotional person, we dealt with them together. After her recovery, she was insistent that we start living life to the fullest and took a 10-day trip to Europe, followed by a trip to the Bahamas. We also have a trip to the UK and Spain, Portugal planned for later this year. I am fine with these things, building memories and crossing bucket list adventures off our list. I also understand that these are a result of her feeling fragile. She also took up yoga, swimming, and healthy cooking classes. I was fully on board until last week. Last week, she came home from work and told me she wanted a hall pass, a one-time opportunity for her to have sex with someone else besides me. She said that since her cancer diagnosis, her outlook on life has changed, and she doesn't want to be handcuffed from doing the things she wants to do. She explained that there is this guy at her work that she has always had some attraction to. He is leaving the company, and she will never see him again, so this is the perfect opportunity to sleep with someone else. She said that I could say no, of course, but that she would be mad and disappointed in me for an indeterminate amount of time. She said it would be confirmation of my male toxicity and insecurity. I don't consider myself to be toxic, and if not wanting your wife of 20+ years to have sex with someone else is insecure, then I guess I am insecure. I told her that I appreciated her talking to me about this, but approval via coercion is not approval. I also said that I do not appreciate her language in describing my, as of yet unknown, reaction to this very large issue that could affect the rest of our marriage. The next morning she basically said that she was sorry for putting such a large decision solely on my shoulders and that, to help, she was taking the decision away from me. She booked a hotel near where her coworkers were having a party send-off for this guy and said she would spend the night there with him, hoping I would be here when she got back. She said she would answer any questions I had about the night after it happened, but not before. She would not tell me who he is or anything about him because, she said, I know you too well, and you will dwell and obsess over him. That would make it too real for me. Which is pretty accurate. Her POV is that the less I know the better, though that contradicts the offer to tell me anything I want to know after it happens. I think she knows I won't want to know or ask anything, or she simply will not tell me. Part of me thinks, at least she has been honest with me. She has been through a lot since finding out she had cancer, so maybe I should just let it happen. I certainly have no concept of what she went through, so I cannot dismiss how this affected her mental state and outlook on life. Part of me wants to put my foot down and say, this is not going to happen, and deal with the consequences when they come. Her BFF called me callous for even suggesting that I wouldn't let it happen because, according to her, I have no idea what she went through. I find it hard to believe that she is okay with the possibility of throwing away 20+ years of marriage over some guy she has had no relationship with outside of work. I should just call her bluff. Maybe she thinks, similarly, that I won't throw away the marriage because of one encounter. I just don't know what to do. I empathize with her, and then, an instant later, I am angry with her. Part of me wants to know who this guy is. What does he look like? What has he got that is so enthralling for her? Is he just a safe option? Is he married? Does his wife know? Would I be a callous idiot for saying no? What can I do besides walking away? TL.dr. Wife battled cancer and won, but now wants to have one night with a soon-to-be former coworker, and I have no say in the matter. Accept it or destroy 20+ years of a great marriage. Relevant comment. Kind of think this is the way your marriage will be from now on. With her epiphany, she wants to relive her life, and she is going to do it regardless of your feelings. I think she is being rather selfish and probably only threatens this because she thinks you are beaten down and will simply put up with it. Perhaps not the best time for trips and frills. She wants the single life? Let her see what that means. She thinks, because she will never see this guy again and that I have never met him, supposedly, it won't really affect me or our marriage in the long term. I am left with accepting it and never viewing her the same way again, or going through a divorce at 54. Not really great options on either front. I don't know where her head is, and the bout with cancer is affecting her in ways that I couldn't possibly imagine. I don't think she believes I will leave. Update: I received a ton of advice that I couldn't possibly respond to. I do appreciate the people who took the time to offer advice in the comments or via PM. It has been an exhausting couple of days. I was hoping that my opposition to her plans would give her pause, but unfortunately, that did not happen. I said, I am a hard no, and I am not sure how I will feel about you if you go ahead with it. I was met, once again, with, this is for me. It will be one time. What can I say to help you deal with it? You'll get over it. We were meant to be regardless of the situation. Leading up to Saturday, she left, ostensibly to meet her coworkers, but in reality, to sleep with the guy. I asked her to text me when she was leaving for the bar, and when she did, I asked her if she was really going to go through with this. Her response? I am not answering any more questions tonight, I will see you tomorrow. I blocked my wife. Then I did something either stupid or brilliant. I went to the bar where the get-together was happening. Well, not the bar itself, but a transit bench across the street. I waited for a long time. It was running through my mind, leading up to this event, that I needed to know who this guy was. Maybe I needed to compare myself against him to see what he had that I did not. It was driving me crazy not knowing who he was and what was so special about him that she would ruin a marriage for. After what seemed like an eternity, a woman I recognized from my wife's office left the bar and got in a cab. Soon, other people started filing out, and a whole group came out. People were hugging a man and shaking his hand. I assumed that I had my guy. I didn't see my wife and had a brief thought that maybe she called it all off. I unblocked her, and there were no messages. Everyone said their goodbyes and left. The guy was standing outside for a few minutes, and then my wife came out. She looked around, took his hand, and started walking away together. Of all the emotions I went through, trepidation, sadness, anger, it was disgust that really encapsulated the event for me. This guy was short, fat, and bald, all the things I cannot compete with. Ultimately, I felt like a pervert for watching from a distance. I followed them until they got to the hotel and then turned around and went home. I woke up Sunday morning and put a lock on the master bedroom door. I moved her things to the spare room and left a note asking her to find other accommodations as quickly as possible. I visited a friend who is a lawyer, and he gave me some sage advice and a couple of recommendations for divorce attorneys. He made the introductions. My wife had been calling me numerous times since around 11 or so. Once blocked, the calls went to voicemail. I listened to the first couple but felt nothing but some satisfaction when she couldn't get through to me, and she was obviously becoming concerned. I didn't want to go home, but I left in such a hurry that I didn't plan an overnight properly. I got home around 9 and, as per my buddy's advice, I recorded the interaction. I was halfway up the stairs when she came up from the family room asking what was going on and if we could talk. I thought we had already talked about this. I just answered with, I am not interested in discussing this tonight, and went to bed. After not getting a response from me through the door, she left me alone. I felt kind of like a child for not talking with her and shutting the door on her, but I just couldn't look at her. On Monday, I got up and ready for work. She was waiting for me and asked if we could discuss getting back to normal. I said, you have been doing all the talking for the both of us for the last week, why don't you continue? And left for work. I have an appointment with the attorneys my friend recommended later this week. TLDR. She went ahead with it. I am actually more disgusted by who she chose than the sex itself, if that makes any sense. I asked her to find somewhere else to live. Update. Potential wayward behavior is being influenced by the BFF. The BFF does not have your best interests in mind. The BFF wants to validate their bad choices by encouraging you to make the same ones. The BFF lives for the drama they help create. The BFF is titillated by the details. The BFF cultivates misery. The BFF is a narcissist who can't help themselves. So if the statement, just go for it, you deserve it. He doesn't appreciate you, he doesn't respect you, and, you faced your own mortality, and you shouldn't let anyone hold you back from doing the things that make you happy. Maybe realize that you should talk with your significant other and explain what you're feeling. You owe it to them to discuss the way you're feeling about yourself, your partner, and your marriage. Edit. Yeah, once the dust settled, I realized that I was desperate to hold on to something that no longer existed. I have initiated divorce proceedings. She has regret, not remorse, of course, those are different things with different meanings. She regrets what has happened because her life is upside down now. Someone in a private message asked if her cancer could be back and spread to her brain. I don't know if that has actually happened or not, but I doubt it would make any difference to me at this point. I just don't see her the same way anymore. I told all her friends' husbands about how they enabled this behavior, and the fallout has been interesting. I said that maybe they were covering for one another, that maybe my wife was just the next link in the chain. This got them going through their wives' phones. A couple found inappropriate digital flirting. All husbands have made their wives cut off my wife and each other. The BFF was one of those involved in the digital flirting, of course. The BFF's husband says that she was definitely an affair partner and probably a participant in instigating others as well. He is still digging. Update. My lawyer wasn't available for a few days, so I was faced with the reality of having to live with my wife in the interim. I really didn't want to go home and have any discussion, let alone a discussion about our relationship. When I did get home, I was basically ambushed by her friends and my mother-in-law. Instead of taking the remorseful approach, they decided that a full court press was what the situation warranted. I was basically berated by them. The BFF was definitely the ringleader, but all of them decided to say such things as, "She's been through a lot. You don't know what she's been through. You have no idea what it is like to face something like this. This was a one-time thing. At least she told you, she could have hidden it from you. She will never see the guy again." And my favorite. "You are an idiot for what you have been putting her through these last couple of days." I listened with a dumb smirk on my face. When there was a lull in their fury, I asked if they were all done now. Then I asked my wife if there was anyone in her circle of friends or anyone else that she forgot to tell about this. I quietly informed all of them that I was going to sit down with their husbands and tell them about how they were verbally abusing me, shaming me, and trying to coerce me into staying with a cheater. After I told them to leave, I said that I had no say in the entire event, and so they have no say in whether I stay or not. My soon-to-be ex-wife, STBXW, sort of apologized. She said that she regretted the entire thing. I said, "There is a difference between regret and remorse. You regret what happened because of the cause and effect. You regret because your life will never be the same, and our relationship will never be the same. You were wholly and willfully unconcerned about me and what I wanted." She asked if I had any questions and said she would answer them now, no matter how disturbing. I said, "The one question I do have is why, not necessarily why this guy, why this low-end, unattractive, unfit guy, but why someone else in the first place." She said that the cancer scared her to her core. She felt like she was rushing toward mortality, and stepping out of that tunnel was appealing. She said that after all this time of being a wife and mother and worrying about family, this was something just for her, an escape. The guy was just someone who was interested in her for a long time, someone she knew wouldn't say no, and who was completely opposite to me. I said, if I was going to risk my marriage, the woman would have to be a serious upgrade from you. I told her that I saw her and him coming out of the bar that night. I watched her walk away from the bar, hand in hand, toward the hotel. I said that she looked too familiar with him and asked if there was something going on before all this. She said no, but who knows if that is the truth or not. I said, "After all our years together, your lack of respect for me is astonishing. I will never be able to look at myself in the mirror again if I condone this level of disrespect and stay with you." I said, "I hope we can go our separate ways amicably, and that I had an appointment with a lawyer later in the week." I again asked her to find some other accommodations, and she simply said, "I am not going anywhere. We are not getting a divorce. I will give you all the time you need and do whatever you need to recover from this. We will get past this." She has asked me to go to marriage counseling, which I refused. I told her, why would I go to counseling? I did nothing to warrant needing a therapist's advice. I had her served and gave her notice to vacate. The house is my premarital asset. She has moved in with her mom, but I find her constantly coming by to see if I need anything or making suggestions like, "What if we had an open relationship, only on your side?" Or, "What if we tried threesomes?" Her behavior seems desperate and pathetic. I've rebuffed her constantly and told her she has to call to ask permission before coming by. This finally seems to be getting through to her that there will be no us going forward. She has said that she will drag the divorce out for as long as possible, but so far, she has been compliant. The worst part of all this was telling my daughter that we are getting a divorce and why, followed closely by her begging me to give her mom another chance. I am not sure I would have been afforded the same consideration if I were the one who cheated. TLDR. A lot of unkind things were said, but she has been served and has moved out. Divorce is next, with me hoping mediation is reasonable and that I don't get screwed in the end. Relevant comments. I think it was just a gut reaction. In the weeks that have passed, and the more she understands what has happened, the more irritating she is becoming. With her mom, I love my wife, and others found her to be stunning. She looks like Linda Carter. Now, knowing that she fared down so low makes her a non-entity that I could never look at the same way again. No amount of counseling is going to change the way I see her. Something had to transpire prior to her hotel excursion. There's no way she decided in a matter of a few days to pick and cheat with this guy. Getting sex is easier for women, maybe they were involved in an emotional affair, before, and this was the culmination. I don't really know, nor do I care, unless it benefits me during the divorce. From what I know, all of her friends have cut her off. They are trying like hell to save their own marriages and are turning on each other. After vacating my house, is she feeling any remorse, or is she still thinking I need to get over it? As of today, going no contact with her should be easy since our daughter is an adult. Desperate measures taken. She was stoic and held her position right up until she was served. Then she became visibly upset and resorted to begging, pleading, and bargaining. Really? No tears, no emotional meltdown. I am sorry that happened to you. How can she not see what she has done to you? The whole way this one is so surreal from start to finish, it is like she has a manic or hypomanic episode. You are doing the right thing by divorcing her. Sorry, but there is no love in her anymore. You, sir, have not lost your self-respect and have made the right choice. Take care of yourself. There were plenty of tears, but that may just be optics. Maybe she fell out of love and now regrets her new station in life. She's an attractive woman, she will have plenty of men willing to date her, but I won't be one of them. Wow, amazing poker face. She really thought she owned you. She was confident, overly so. If you ever feel the need to go nuclear, you could reveal the affair to her coworkers, but that would be a disaster. I want her employed so I don't have to pay maintenance. Even if it was while she was between jobs, there is a woman at her work, who has always looked at me in an inviting way, so maybe I will try to date her after this is over. That would be interesting on a couple of levels. Final update. There is not much to report. We are in the process of getting a divorce. However, where we live, we must be legally separated for 1 year. My STBXW has said that she will give me whatever I want in the divorce if I agree to attend marriage counseling, but I am not interested. There was a bit of back and forth while we worked out what separation looks like in everyday life from this point forward. As a result, we have only just agreed to the confines of the legal separation. As we move toward defining the divorce language, maybe my stance may change, but I doubt it. The house was a premarital asset, so she has no claim to it. The only things she could go after are my pension, vehicles, and vacation property. However, I would counter that she has lived rent-free for 20+ years and has her own money plus an inheritance from her father. I may offer a top-up in retirement as she was a stay-at-home mom while our daughter was young, but that would be the most at this point. I received a lot of messages about her friend group and my daughter, so I will clear up any misconceptions now. My daughter isn't taking her mother's side. She has always been a mama's girl, but she is very unhappy with her mom right now. Her initial reaction was just shock, and she held out hope that we would work through any issues and stay together. Now, she accepts that this is not going to happen. She has been limiting her interactions with her mom, but at the end of the day, she is still her mom. The friend group's husbands were upset at the level of complicity their wives had in aiding and abetting the contact and cheating. They made their wives cut off my wife, but that seems to have been forgotten at this point. The BFF was the ringleader and seems to have taken perverse pleasure in actively creating scenarios where my wife and the guy would be in contact. At the very least, she encouraged the behavior to the point of causing her husband to question her motives. It turns out she didn't like me at all, and this was her way of sticking it to me. I guess she wins. The BFF's husband said that there were some digital flirting messages in his wife's chats, but he said he is dealing with it. We met up, and he was apologetic for his wife's complicity. It is not his fault, and I just want to move on. I have decided not to date anyone for a while. I will not be getting married ever again. So that is it. I doubt I will post again unless she wins the lottery and I find it my heart to forgive her. Comments. Don't go to couples counseling. In some situations, it is beneficial, but always keep in mind that when you go to a marriage counselor, the patient is the marriage. There was nothing wrong with your marriage, there was something wrong with your wife. Encourage her to continue IC and agree to sit in on a session once in a while if you feel like it, but she is the patient. Don't sign up for medically approved gaslighting about what happened. You know what happened. You saw how little respect she had for you, how little she valued your marriage. You told her, in no uncertain terms, that you would not tolerate her sleeping with that man, and she did it anyway. This wasn't a breakdown in communication but a breakdown in consideration. You are not a consideration. She will have the rest of her life to reconsider that. You need to live your life on your terms from now on, and it sounds like you are doing exactly that. This is exactly the way I feel. I did nothing wrong. I didn't change. I feel that I will be the one who will be asked to change or be manipulated into it. OP, yeah, this is such a screwed up situation. In some respects, your wife was handling the situation quite well right up until you gave her the answer to her question. I know the trauma of cancer can do some weird stuff to folks and make them a lot more impulsive, but damn, to go, "I'm doing this anyway," is effed. She's got some serious issues she needs to address. I mean, to confirm a relationship boundary, ask for permission to cross it, get denied, indicate you will be crossing it anyway, and then act surprised by the consequences that were laid out. I just can't see any way of ever reconciling from that. I felt this way in the beginning. At least she communicated with me, told me how she was feeling, and sought my feedback. It was the total disregard for my position, coercion, and subsequent language that created the overall situation. I get that she had a crush. I don't get that she was willing to relegate me to a placeholder while pursuing the crush. Check with your lawyer before you turn down the MC. If it's to your benefit to agree to it, set a low limit on the number of sessions, maybe 3 to 6. You can fill that much time with descriptions of how your STBX discusses you now, how you have as little respect for her as she had for you in your marriage vows, and how your skin crawls when you think of being intimate with her after her session with the little homunculus, etc., etc. She should get the message that there's no coming back from this. Has she ever expressed remorse or even regret? My recollection is that she just kept insisting that you would get over it, as if she had just made a little mistake that should be forgiven. That part of her thinking sounded straight up delusional. My lawyer's advice is, well, get what I want by playing nice. I have time, and she is getting more desperate now that I am not communicating with her any longer. Now that the separation agreement is finalized, maybe I will circle back at some point. Right now, I am enjoying the peace and quiet.